Marcy Littlejohn, I'm so excited to be working with you. And if you would have said something about Chip and Marcy, what, 5, 10, 12, maybe even 20 years ago, I would have not imagined we'd be working together. We go back almost 30 years.
Actually,
Unbelievable.
over 30 years,
Over
94.
30. Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. And
it is 30. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, and we got to really be close when we traveled together as couples in Tahiti for 9 days of paradise. It was wonderful. But let me tell you a little bit about Marcy Littlejohn. I think first of all, I think we all are here because we love Avini Health, and there simply would not be Avini Health if there were no Marcy Littlejohn. So thank you. But just as a friend, knowing you, one of the things I really like is there's a statement we've all heard that people don't care how much they know until they know how much you care. And really quick, we understand you really do care, and we can feel it. But you know a lot too. Also, knowing that you do really good at everything. Marcy Littlejohn is a peak performer, and so, wow. And what a neat environment to be in, to be peak performing. So I think all of us, we need to be just really think what we've been given, this wonderful gift. We shouldn't just dabble. We should really get out there and let people know about this because it certainly changed your life. You're here because of it. Because you're here. I heard about it. And this is my all-time favorite product I've ever used. In fact, let me just Marcy, tell us about your journey, how you came about this. It goes back quite a ways, and then of course, why want to know why this is so many other people's very favorite product. So I'll turn it over to you, Marcy. But thanks for being you and being there at the right place at the right time, and continuing to be at the right place at the right time.
Well, I'm truly grateful to have been in the right place at the right time. And today is the anniversary of the day that I most needed support, help, and understanding. And the fact that everything I'd learned, the universities of all the places we've been before, led me to Rick Deitch and these products. On April 13th of 2012, I discovered my need. Isn't it interesting how those things happen? But that's when I discovered my body's disease state. I had 3 different kinds of deadly cells. They were not connected to each other, but they had spread everywhere and all over my body. There wasn't really there wasn't very many places they weren't. And so they were identifying which group of organs and bone and so on, all the places that were attached to this kind and that kind and that kind over there. But all 3 of them were not attached to each other. They were just all happening at the same time. And because of that, they didn't give me 8 weeks to live. They said I would not live 8 weeks because I had plans for 8 weeks. On 8 weeks out, my daughter was going to be in the Miss Nebraska pageant. And by golly, we were going in force and excited and delighted about getting everything ready and all that stuff. And all of a sudden they tell me I can't. And also told me that she probably shouldn't either because she probably wouldn't feel real good after she lost me. And I said, wow, they're going to tell me what to do and they're going to tell her too. Don't think so. But what I can tell you is that was 12 years ago. And why I'm here is because I had faith in this product and discovered this product during that time. So the Cell Defender and the Immunity product, those are the 2 things I did. I was offered every form of deadly cell battle from the disease state doctors. They had a standard of protocol, which if you choose to do, they will let you. If you choose not to do, they won't let you. They don't like it if you choose not to do it. And so fortunately, the first doctor that I was working with was someone who knew me. And when I said no, he said, what I hear you say is you want a second opinion. And I did. So I went for a second opinion. And they said the same thing as the first guys. I think they had a problem. I'm not sure that I did. I was pretty confident that wasn't what my destiny was. But it was my destiny to use these products and to discover that it is just as important how you use them, that learning how to use them for greatest effect was what my job was that day, was to discover. I prayed about it, I thought about it, I put myself in the position where if I was going to war, how would I want to be ready? How would I prepare myself? And I decided to take the Cell Defender, that product I knew at the time. I decided to take the Cell Defender every hour on the hour. Take 5 to 10 drops of Cell Defender every hour on the hour, waking hours only. That means when you're awake. Somebody said, "What's waking hours?" I said, "Well, that's usually when you're awake." So what we've discovered is that not only did that work well for me, that has worked well for others. And I do call that the crisis dose, the Marcy dose. I took it. If I took it every hour, I used the clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And if by chance it was 3:20 when I looked at the clock, I took it at 3:20 and then took it again at 4 o'clock. You understand, consistent and persistent behavior is the most important thing. I consistently told my body to be well, and I showed it what I meant. I gave it the tools to do its job better than it had been doing it before. Our product line fights disease, discomfort, and despair, and it certainly fought that for me. So in 8 weeks and a day, I was free of the disease. And now at 12 years later, here I am. And you guys are stuck with me because I'm going nowhere except with you.
That's amazing.
Yes, the exciting thing about it is sometimes people say to me, "Well, first of all, Dave, let's do a little quick disclaimer. The thing that we do with our products." I love the fact that we aren't doctors. We don't have to be. We don't need the terms that doctors use. You didn't hear me discuss the name of my disease. You heard me talk about what my disease was threatening me with. And I consider that a threat. Also, when I fell to the floor that morning and couldn't get up, the agony that I was in was incredible. So if I described what happened and what it was going to deny me, the future, right? I think that has more impact than the name of the disease. So let's just be clear. We don't make medical claims. We don't have to. We're not doctors. We don't have to be. Also, as I'm sharing with you how I use the products, I'm not diagnosing or treating or offering a cure. What I'm telling you is the products are the greatest assistance to your body that you could ever have. Your body will then do what it was designed to do in the first place. It will take care of you. It will do it in a way that absolutely I found astonishing. Because my disease was so fast growing, it also was fast to die. So it's important to understand if you have a more slow growing issue, it may take longer for you to go through the great balancing act that is recovery. That's what it is. It's a balancing act. So we get to balance our body's ability to deal with death, discomfort, and disease. And I, for one, love it. I know you do too, Dave. I know. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to, what you were talking about reminds me of what your husband is always telling people, that the protocols or whatever, using all of our products, ideally, it would be just like you're training for some big event and you want to just be as physically and mentally just as capable as you can for that big event. Well,
Yeah.
that would be the same thing that you would do if you're going into battle, fighting some problem. And
Right.
it just makes total sense. And I love what Rick always talks about, that this doesn't cure or do anything. As simply put your body in a better environment, and a clean, healthy body fixes itself. Your body wants to get better. And if you give it what it needs and don't give it what it doesn't need, it's likely that will happen. And so we're in such a central area of this, where we got something that so elegantly and beautifully easily removes bad stuff out of our body. And all you have to do is, oh goodness, that's less than an hour. I hope I'm okay. And
And
that's what I
here's the
love.
thing, I can guarantee that you will be. That we can't do any harm. I love that. The
Yeah.
day that your doctor says, "Oh, I want you to take 18 rounds of this and 18 rounds of that," if you say to him, "I'll do that with, if you'll do that with me, I'll do it," he's probably not going to do that. But if you say to me, "Will you do it with me?" I'll do it. If you say to Dave, "Will you do it with me?" Yeah, let me show you how it's done.
Mhm.
Right? I love that.
Absolutely. Well, tell us some more. Where you've been and what you're doing, and more ideas.
More ideas.
How else can you use this stuff?
Oh
The
my
opposite is
goodness.
just putting it in here and
Well, that's my favorite thing. Years ago, the only product I had was Cell Defender. We also had the fiber product. So I really learned how to use those products really well because I practiced a lot. I had thousands of people who were coming in a disease state and they were battling disease, discomfort, and despair. And I just happened to say, gosh, that's what we deal in. You know, anybody with disease, discomfort, or despair? We're in. We can help. I love that. I love the fact that how we deal with it with our product line today, even our whole product line is synchronized. You know what synchronized is? That's like synchronized swimming. You know, everybody in the pool puts their leg up at the same time, everybody in the pool puts their arms up at the same time. Synchronized swimming. Our products work together to accomplish a mission. I said the other day, somebody said, what kind of superhero do you want to be? I love that question. I want to be the best, right? But guess what? The best superhero that you can be is if you wear a big P on your chest that says prevention is absolutely for everybody. If we're talking about our company, think of us as the company about prevention. We can prevent disease, discomfort, and despair. Are we missing anything? Hello? I don't think so. I think what we have is synchronicity. It is balance. I tell people it's balance, grasshopper, and that's what we do. If we can help your body balance itself, get back to balance, maybe some people have never had balance and ever. They were born with an extra shot of bad stuff, an extra delivery system from both parents of toxins and disease, and those toxins drive disease. So when should we go to work? Well, when do you teach your kid to brush their teeth? What are we doing? We're talking about prevention. We're talking about beginning at the beginning, maybe before babies are born. That's what we love best. We love it when we can work with a mom that wants to be a mom, a dad that wants to be a dad, and they want to be the best they can be. Well, if they start on Cell Defender. If they start on Cell Defender, it usually becomes a pattern for a lifetime. Because if we say to them, people say to me, well, how long do I have to take this? And I say, well, how long do you intend to brush your teeth? I'd stop about 8 days after that. Because honestly, if you could keep your body clean every day, that's what you should be doing. So that's what we do. If you have bad cells, one of the things I didn't say that I do want to say, mine were so fast growing, I got a fast result. But what about somebody whose cells are growing slower? Those bad cells are growing slower. Well, they're just going to die slower. But if you are consistently and persistently in the fight and attacking them, our product is passive. Cell Defender is a passive product. It's basically neutral. But what happens when you start using it consistently, persistently, often, what you're doing is regulating its power. Yeah, it's coming in, picking up those heavy metals, mercury, lead, cadmium, aluminum, arsenic. It's invited into unhealthy cells. It's not invited into a healthy cell. It simply cleans up the environment around that healthy cell so that healthy cell can go out and reproduce itself. Now, I think that's prevention. So what we have is a battle fighter. It is your army, it's your defense, and we have prevention so that the good cells stay good and we don't have to wipe them out to get what we want, freedom from disease. Freedom from disease is a big deal. We all know that those bad cells are in everybody. It's whether or not their body's able to deal with them on a daily basis. When I say I'm the trash collector, I take out the trash. I came for yours today. Guess what? That's prevention. That's what we do. So remember, when you're talking to people and they say, well, I'm healthy, they may be healthy till the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year. But how about if we prevent them ever discovering what would have happened in the next day, the next week, the next year? That's even better. So call us the prevention police. We love it.
That's wonderful. And I love what Rick talks about often because so much of Avini is sharing stories. And we've got so many wonderful success stories. And Rick is often asked, well, what's your very favorite story? And he always responds with the one I've never heard. That is a good story. May you never know what you're preventing. And that's the best way to use these products. Also, I love the word synergy, that the total effect is greater than the sum of the effect of things taken individually. And
Mhm.
synergy, and we're getting more products. I think we're getting this synergy that's really helping. In addition, like the nano silver, I think can be very synergistic with Cell Defender. But let's go back. You've actually been using these products from the very beginning almost.
Yes.
And when that was launched, that first company, I believe 2004, you were there, and that original bottle said take 10 drops twice a day. And I believe you were using that. And yet there's certain instances in your life, and you've shared with me, you went through some really traumatic times where those bad cells had an opportunity because
Mhm.
there's so many different components. And I love your thought about where you refer to my cup runneth over, and you want to have plenty to go around for those bad guys. And in certain instances, 10 drops twice a day, or I would say maybe even more effectively, is take that same amount, but take it 5 drops 4 times a day. So you got
Exactly.
in your system more consistently. And that's one of the big things, is consistency over time makes everything work better. But I love this idea. On some instances, some is good, more is better, and too much is just right.
Yeah,
I think with Marcy does
we
it
have
too.
several Goldilocks products.
Yeah.
Several Goldilocks products. The silver product is one of our Goldilocks products. And what makes it so unique is the fact that each one of it's the size matters with the silver product so much because it doesn't store in our body. So, like the Cell Defender, it doesn't store in our body either. The reason I used it systematically is because I wanted to keep my cup full, my cup of prevention, my cup of disease fighters full. I literally sent them in like Pac-Man every day with a little prayer, millions and millions of Pac-Man in this product. When we talk about Goldilocks and this product, what I'm saying about that product is that if it fits perfectly to its purpose, you might refer to it as the bed that's just right. The perfect size, the perfect shape, the perfect industrial strength. So, what do I mean by that? It'll take out the biggest bad guys you've ever seen in your life. And for those people who watch what parasites come out of the body, their job is to watch the tubes and see what comes out. And it's shocking. It's shocking what your body can contain, and you don't even know it's there until you eliminate it. So I call this the eliminator. We have the terminator, terminates bad cells. We have the eliminator, terminates bad guys. And I love that. Whether those bad guys are just things that your kids pick up at school and all the kids share the same runny noses and earaches and sore throats and all that kind of stuff, or if it's more serious and they're even numbered offenses. I used to think 13 was the most unlucky number. Now I know 19 is most unlucky. You don't want it. You don't need it. And if you're doing something like prevention, what a great couple of tools we have. Every tool we have has a synchronicity with the other because balance is so important. And I love that you pick up on that. And I too, my recommendation is spreading the product out. And with Cell Defender, I do 5 drops multiple times a day, but I do the crisis dose, which we have lovingly called the Marcy dose, because I love being here and I'm here because of that dose. The crisis dose, which includes 2 capsules of immunity mushroom in crisis, 2 capsules of immunity mushroom 3 or 4 times a day. If you're in crisis, if somebody's in crisis, those 2 products are my absolute favorite for that situation. Um, I love to tag this product is everything plus something else. So I call it layering. We're layering in our defense. If you were laying out your troops, you wouldn't want to just have one set of troops. I sent Pac-Man in every hour of every day to go do it. And then I sent it support system to go clean up and take, oops, sorry, wrong bottle. Sent my support system in to go in This also has the 7 different mushrooms. The mushrooms in this product are synchronized together. So balance. And what happens if everything you put in balances you? It's hard to get off track. So I use those 2 products for those purposes, but I layer everything. If I'm battling, if somebody has sugar intolerance and literally their body's allergic to sugar, their body's ability to deal with, even at a cellular level, even before we get to the vital organs that are failing our bodies because of disease, discomfort, and despair, I add them together. I always start with the tip of the sword, and then I add the troops. Why wouldn't I? So if I had a issue of I don't have, but if I did have, I would use these products. Of course, I would use all the products, but if you're introducing somebody for the first time who has a sugar intolerance level and they've been battling it and they know their numbers every day, you can change their out of sight, unrealistic, improbable to survive numbers by using these 2 products together in tandem to do that partnership deal that we call synchronized, right? They're going to swim together. How impressive is synchronized swimming if you do it by yourself? Not very, but if you add your partnerships, you're going to have a delightful, amazing performance. And I love the word eloquent. You're right. These products are eloquently capable of doing amazing things. And these 2 together are absolutely able to in hours, sometimes less than days, you can start seeing those numbers be like the airplane, come flying in to land straight, steady, and on purpose. And that's what the numbers do for people who have something long-term, like sugar intolerance. So crisis dose, cleanse dose, you talked about 4 times a day, 5 drops 4 times a day, or 10 drops twice a day. Cleansing dose, well, that's really just a maintenance dose, right? Maintenance dose. So crisis dose, maintenance dose, we just talked about specifically long-term dose. So how would I use this long-term? Remember, I'm not diagnosing or treating, I'm telling you what I would do. And if I would do it and it works for other people who have done it, this is what I would say is preferred use for someone with a long-term disorder, like something with auto in the name. If your immune system is crazy and you want to balance it, balance. Our theme might be balance and prevention, Dave. And as we're talking about that, if you're trying to balance that using the Cell Defender, taking 5 drops, at this point, if it's something long-term, I'm going to do it like 8 times a day, 5 drops 8 to 10 times a day. Why wouldn't I? If I can create balance by being consistent and persistent, why wouldn't I give my body what I need, right? So if you're already in a disease state and it doesn't happen to be the kind of disease that I had or other people have experienced with bad cells, it is still about getting the sugar out of your cells or balancing modulating the immune system, not driving the immune system. We don't want that out of balance. We don't want to race up the hill with too much of anything that would put you out of balance, because the 2 products that would balance you for the long-term auto would be these 2 products. Isn't it interesting? It's the same products, just used in a little different way. So I love that. So now we've done crisis, long-term, anything that's long-term. Do you want to live? I say people have been living with sugar intolerance for decades. Some people are just discovering they have it and they would have to live with it for the rest of their lives, or we could change their numbers and they'll live with it differently or without it. I like that a lot. Those are what I consider long-term disease. So I've just given you the way that I would use the products on 4 different ways, right? A cleanse, I do the Marcy Dose. I have people do the Marcy Dose for anywhere from 2 weeks to 90 days, depending on what kind of condition their body's in. And when I say cleanse, I love a cleanse that when you can keep it clean, shiny, and bright, your eyes are brighter, your teeth are brighter, the whole world's brighter. What you're looking out at is as good as what you're looking in at. That's a cleanse. When you do that, most people are frightened. They say, well, I got to take off work to do that. No, We don't have a rent-a-car philosophy. There's no hurts with us. It doesn't hurt, and it doesn't give you hurt syndrome. So we're not the rent-a-car company. We don't have that. And if you don't suffer the consequences of a nutritional cleanse, people say detox, and I cringe because they do. We don't need we need to re-identify what detox means. It means get rid of the trash. It doesn't mean shoot the trash man. We are, in fact, able to remove the disease, discomfort, despair, the dirt, the trash, the heavy metals, mercury, lead, cadmium, aluminum, arsenic, and so on. Write down the periodic table. Somebody said they were going to go through and look up everything and make a list of all the things we take out. Start with the periodic table. You don't have to make your own lists. You don't have to build the highway. It's already been done. Somebody spent their lifetime creating the periodic table. Spend your lifetime using it to your advantage, because everything above zero on the table, we take out. That's all the heavy metals, starting with the worst guys first. Cadmium, aluminum, mercury, all of those things. It's the whole periodic table above balanced. Isn't that interesting? Our product comes in neutral and brings all of those things into balance. Couldn't get better. Don't build the highway to somewhere that you don't need to go. Spend your time building the highway with help and recovery.
Well, that's another good word, is selectivity. So minerals, we need them. They're vital in pretty much every biological reaction that happens. Magnesium, for example, thousands of different things we need it. And the cell defender it's just not interested in magnesium. That's the coolest thing, or zinc, or all the other vital minerals that we need. It just loves the bad stuff and leaves the good stuff alone. Selectivity, what a cool thing. So it really is elegant.
And you get to pick, which sponge do you want to use? This is a dirty sponge. Of course it's washed, but is it clean? No. This is a cleansed sponge. I say, imagine this is the cage that we capture the toxins in. Does that one look worthy? Ours are pristine, perfect, and what we have is a cleansed cage. It's like a cage for a lion. I think the things on the periodic table that are at the top of the charts are the most negative things in your body. If we take those out, we want to do it with an empty trash can, a clean sponge. We use this one to clean you instead of this one. People out there that have something that they think is similar to ours, they're trying to use this to get the results of this. If you think of this as absorption, and once something's in, it can't get out, that's what makes our crystal, the base of our product, clinoptilolite. Clinoptilolite can look like this, or it can look like this. We like this one. And it captures the lion, but not the mice. And those elements you were talking about that are good for us, they're like little mice running in and out of the lion's cage, because the bars aren't made for them. The cage isn't made for them. They go in and out and go do their job, and we take out the barrier things, the barrier products. I think I lost you, Dave. Oh, you're answering the phone.
Yeah, hang on just a second here. Okay, this is
what it really looks like.
Yeah. And so why is it so beautiful? Because the sponge is already filled up. And if you go to Google,
the variations in it, Dave, the variations, put that back up there. I love, love, love examples. That's why you saw me pull up the sponges. See all the variations in that rock? A lot of that variant, in fact, the elements that are in there, that changes the color that Dave was just talking about. It changes how that looks. Mine was a simple example for what we have, but that's really where it comes from. We take all that trash out, so it looks like a barely off-white mineral. Isn't that something?
It's clean. Yeah, if you Google pictures of clinoptilolite, you'll see some of the most beautiful specimens of rocks, all these brilliant colors. And of course, if you're an oil painter or into pigments, different metals, including heavy metals, that's why they're in lipstick and different things like that, is for the pigment. And so, yeah, pure clenoptilolite really doesn't have those colors. And
Thank
so
you.
it's just an interesting thing. Going on with this. Okay, so let's say you've got a crisis and you did a Marcy dose and you're feeling better. Is it just like, okay, I'm done. I'm all better now, so I don't need to keep doing all of that so much. I could just go back to living like I was before. Got some comments on that.
Please, please. Thank you, Dave. Please understand, when I started taking the Marcy dose, I did it to literally get free myself from the disease. But I didn't stop taking it the day I got my clean bill of health. I even went back. They insisted they wanted to see me every month for several months to do all the tests over again and get even better results than I got the day that they thought their machines were broken, because my results were too good to be believed. True story. Now, then I would go back and get results. They do tests every month for a couple of months, and then 3 months, and then 6 months. They told me not to come back. Please don't come back. We can't afford you. Because I wasn't doing any of the things that made them money. They weren't treating me. They were simply checking my numbers. They were checking my success numbers. When should I stop taking the Marcy dose? Well, I looked at it this way. Cheapest insurance I ever had in my life, right? Assurance and insurance. So it was my insurance and assurance. I was doing everything I could to prevent a disease that they promised me, that they guaranteed me would be back. It was Arnold for sure. They were saying, I'll be back. You'll be back. It'll be back. And I said, no, it won't. The only thing that would allow me to make that statement was if I was doing the best possible prevention. The best offense is the best defense. The best offense is to have one or the other, or both. I had both. I had the best offense and the best defense. And why would I put them down? Why would I say, okay, that's enough? I did it for a year, a total. So for 2 months, I was in disease. For 10 months, I was preventing the disease from coming back. Please don't think they're done fighting. They're not done fighting till you've whipped them all the way out. It takes a long time for your body to replace cells. If your bone structure was invaded, we know how long it takes to replace the whole skeletal system is 12 years, approximately 12 years for you to rebuild your skeletal system. When should I give up on the bones that had been affected? When did I have it rebuilt? I don't know, but I know this. I did that for 10 more months after I was told month after month I was fine. Prevention, I believe, and staying on task was what kept me from seeing them again. So please remember, when do you stop taking it? Could I have backed off sooner? Maybe. I don't know. And I'll never know. And may I never know what it's like to have stopped too soon. But what I do, I'm like everybody else. I'm not perfect. And I tell people, listen, if you were looking for perfect, I wouldn't have eaten those dilly bars that my friends brought me when they thought that would make me feel better. But what are you going to do when your friends show up with dilly bars? You smile and eat them and have more cell defender. So I just tell you, I didn't do it perfect, but please, it's your body, it's your life, it's your future. Lay out a plan that allows you to fight the battle till there's no battle to fight, and then to maintain your course. So every 3 months, I try to do at least 2 weeks of the Marcy dose. And why am I doing that? Just in case I left something in the bad tank during that 3 months or 4 months. It's 3 times a year, right? I can afford to do 3 times a year what I did every day for a year, just to prevent it coming back. I want to clean up the ones that aren't related to the other ones. They show up. I want to be sure I show up.
Thinking about all of this, one of the things I believe about Avini Health is it's not a replacement for a good lifestyle. And so much of all the problems we have are created by a bad lifestyle. And I always think about just When we go to groceries, I look around at other people's grocery carts and I think, oh my goodness, no wonder we're having problems, because if that's what they're taking home, I assume that's what they're going to be putting in their bodies. And a lot of this stuff there maybe isn't even food. Some of it's disguised as food, but as far as taking this substances and just highly processing it, so it might be a slow poison rather than a real nutrition. And it goes back to watching a TED talk, and this nice lady, a doctor, she starts out her talk and she's on the stage, very pleasant smile. Do you like candy? I like candy. And then her face changes and she says, and so does cancer.
Yeah.
And you think about that sugar is cancer food. And so you just want to get that out of your diet. And if you want to get motivated, Lustig, Dr. Lustig, he's got several YouTube things on sugar. And if you get your head right about this is really not doing my body any good, just stay away from that. And oh my goodness. But there's a question that came up about, which is such a common problem, blood sugar. This product we have, plus fiber, optimally, I think if everybody just takes as directed a scoop 15 minutes before your two main meals, I don't know.
Unless you're underweight, and then you take it after meals. Okay. If you're,
Or just take a little less of it.
no,
Like if you're 100.
absolutely can't go there, Dave. It's
Okay.
designed for the size of the scoop. Don't pick up some other scoop and put it in your container, and don't do less of it. That is from the biochemist, and I do listen to him sometimes. No, I listen to him all the time.
My opinion is
but he specifically says that size and shape. Remember when we said size and shape matters on the nano silver? It's very important on the fiber. He absolutely insists that if we're gonna take it, take it every other day. If your issue is take less, take it every other day. But you can take one scoop a day, or 2 scoops a day, or 3 scoops a day, but take the size of the scoop, because it creates a ball that moves through your system. Otherwise, you can create a gaseous situation nobody wants, and no discomfort. So balance, again, for him and for what he's taught us, is 1 scoop.
Well, pretty much everybody that has blood sugar stuff, if they measure their blood sugar, even the next day getting on the product, they see marked improvements.
Yes.
Everybody should use plus fiber, in my opinion.
You are 100% correct. Tip of the sword, the Army. And it changes those numbers, as I said earlier. It changes the numbers. Very few people have something that they check their numbers every day. We check our numbers sometimes every 6 months. The doctor says, oh, a number is much better. What are you doing? Again, what are you using? Hello, Cell Defender, that product. We use our products in balance. You change the numbers that the doctors look at. But these people are looking at their numbers every day. Sometimes they have a little machine on their arm. Sometimes they still prick the end of their finger and check their numbers. Very few people have proof in a few days that they're improving their body, but they do. The people who check their numbers on a daily basis and have the needles to prove it, right, are fighting disease every day. Wow, it's incredible what happens when they just use a simple regimen of our products. Changes everything. It changes the numbers. In some cases, if they're on the other, there's a couple of stages in that disease. If they happen to not be needle users in the disease, the results may be they don't have the disease. And if they're on needles, instead of taking 6 shots a day, if they go to 1 shot a day because their numbers say they can. Oh, I don't think it gets better than that. They're cheating. They got numbers.
All right. Maybe change just a little bit. You
Yes, go.
Animals, you've been around a lot of animals, some pretty exotic. Could you tell us some stories with the application of this stuff to animals?
Sure.
Can you use it too? Because they're biological systems just like we are. So
yeah, and they don't lie about it. They don't lie about anything that happens to them. If they feel better, they run higher, jump. They run and jump and play and nuzzle your neck and love you for what you bring them. Not everybody has that response when they have when people with people, they think that can't be that person must be exaggerating. Well, they're not exaggerating when they run off across a field and they were unable to walk. They're walking horses, especially stilt-legged walking, because their body has absorbed so many toxins that they are in literally in the battle for their lives. Veterinarians will put them to sleep because they can't do anything for them. And we simply put them on the regiment, the same regiment that we would put you on. We take out the toxins with Cell Defender. And believe it or not, as big as a horse is, they don't take a lot more of this product than you do. So I say on a horse, you're dealing with 10 drops of Cell Defender, 10 to 15 drops, okay, but you don't need to give them more than that. And I never, ever, never put it in their water, because anybody who has a horse knows that half the water in the bucket or in the tank, you would never put it in there. You want it where you know they're getting it. They splash. In other words, they tend to throw water all over like a dog with a big muzzle. They throw water all over. I don't know that people throw water all over, but I prefer to put the product in the person's mouth, in the horse's mouth, in the cat's mouth, in the lion's mouth, in the lilliger's mouth, in the camel's mouth, in the bear's mouth, all of those things. Putting it in is most effective. Getting it in is most effective. They can drink water afterwards, and an animal doesn't have to be told to drink water. If they're thirsty, they drink. It's the most amazing thing. And people, we have to remind them to drink water. Anyway, yes, I've had a lot of experience, or quite a lot of experience with animals. My favorite is, I talk about Willie the Lilliger. That's a lion-tiger combination, and it's crossbred more than once. These animals rarely live to old age. They usually don't make it past 3 months because their vital organs shut down, usually kidneys, bladder. They develop diseases of the bladder and kidneys very early. Sometimes literally almost seem to be born with them, but they're certainly defective when they're born because they were never designed to be crossed. But having been born, I can't help but want to rescue them, right? So, and I have a friend Robin and I have a friend named Bonnie, and Bonnie is a big cat rescue, also camel. She's had everything, and we've dealt with those things. She had a big tiger that couldn't, the vets had given her the needle to take it home and put it to sleep. There was no way it could survive. The kidneys were completely shut down, blah, blah, blah. And that's what we started with. And instead of that, in days, the cat was up and walking around and pacing its cage and asking for more drops. Huh. Isn't that funny? Right? And what I do find about these are wild animals. I'm not talking about, they may be caged in a big area, but they're free to take your arm if they want to. But they don't tend to take your arm if in your hand you have that little white bottle. They just want more. They lean into it. I was talking Wednesday about horses, and horses will stand at the ready. They're ready, always ready to get away from you, especially if you're new to them. A lot of times I'm walking up to a horse that I've never seen before. And I haven't done as much of this lately because some of the people that I work with horses, they just do it themselves. They've been doing it for 16, 18 years too. But used to be I would go help them. But anyway, the horse will stand with their foot perched up on the very tip of one foot at the ready so they can back up quick, right? And as soon as they've had the product a couple of times, they'll stand there with both front feet on the ground and lean into you. And I like it when somebody leans in for more. It's incredible. They'll come at a spotted horse, a big, little, beautiful spotted horse pony, but big, beautiful stallion not in the same area because the little one was hurt, gone through a barbed wire fence, had cuts all the way across its chest and down the foreleg, and just incredible damage. Laid open the meat, and the wire was on it for a period of time. The foot got in the fence. His foot got in the fence and twisted. So he was hanging by his foot. Bad. The cuts were deep and long, and a horse scars the least little thing one barb of a barbed wire fence can leave a scar on a horse. Open wounds on a horse will scar and layer scar, or they will change the color of the hair on the area that's damaged, doesn't grow back with the same hair color. And it doesn't, in my lifetime, I've seen a lot since Cell Defender, but before Cell Defender, I saw very few horses that ever had a scar that just looked like a scar. They were either raised up or it was stretched out. You can imagine the mass of muscle. When a muscle's damaged and it's scarred underneath, it just makes a big lump. Like people who have open heart surgery and it looks like they've got a rope going down their chest. Well, not if they had Cell Defender. Well, same thing for horses. Not if they had Cell Defender. And that little horse was so scarred up, so marked up that she thought the scars were going to be horrific, the owner. And instead of that, as it's getting better, as it's recovering faster than expected, not expected to be able to walk, not expected to do more, but it was frankly, a kid's pony that they just wanted it to live. And so we put it on the recovery mission, and it not only recovered, but they ride it all the time. They're still riding it. Now it's an old pony, but it's still, they still ride it. Oh, the grandkids are riding it. I love it. No scars, no changing color. The big brown spots and on the white horse, that spotted pony, those spots typically would have had all those scar marks through them. They don't. It's perfectly recovered. Our bodies are able to heal themselves. We have to empower them with the tools. And God gave us the tools. So some of those things. Willie also wasn't expected to live 3 months. Instead, Willie's 7 years old now. Hello.
That's the cat?
That's the Willie the Lilliger. Yeah. Her name is Wilhelmina, but we call her Willie. Yeah. And when I call her on the phone, I'll talk to her on the phone. When I call her on the phone, wow, 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 wow. It's so cool. She talks back to me.
Oh,
But they know that, if you're coming to help anything innocent, they know. They know. It only takes 1 or 2 times. How do we treat horses? The eye, ears, nose, and mouth. How do we do that? How do we treat people? Eye, ears, nose, and how do we not treat, but how would I treat myself? How would I treat my animals? How would I care for people? Because again, I don't make medical claims. I'm just making suggestions that what I've done has worked for me and for other people. I suggest that when you're looking at something that seems impossible, it's only improbable. We carry miracles in our pockets, and all we have to do is take them out and see if that miracle fits your person. And what usually happens is they find 6 or 8 other miracles on the way.
And it won't hurt you, and it just might help you. That's a
Can't
pretty
hurt you.
good thing.
If it does for you what it did for Dave and I, what would that be worth to you?
Mhm.
Yeah. And it is wonderful. When we talk about how the ways, I use it on the bottom of people's feet. I use it. Why? Because all your vital organs have a connection to your feet. Your body signals. One thing we know, 2,000 years ago, that same diagram that people use for saying where the lungs and the liver and those things are on the bottom of your feet, look it up. Go to the internet. You go for everything else. Go for something positive. Go look up what the pressure points, acupressure, acupuncture, any of those points are on your feet and hands. Put the product on the hands. One of the most effective ways is to put it on the hands and work this area, this yoke. It's incredible. Your body releases stress. Stress is what nearly killed me. I had 3 major, massive stresses. I used to call my disease IRS disease. I know I wasn't supposed to use a medical term, but anybody that's ever battled the IRS knows it takes medicine to recover. Well, I didn't use medicine, but medicine told me how badly I was injured, right? Whatever you're battling, remember, you're battling it in your body. You're also battling it with your mind. So if you are stressed out, you send that through your whole body. We are how we think. And that's important. It's important to think positively to know, have some confidence, and build confidence. If you can share with your story confidence so that someone else will battle what they're battling with the same tools you used, that's an incredible gift. It's incredible. Our product doesn't sit on a shelf in a store for a reason, because nobody's going to walk by and tell you their story. They don't work at Walmart. It's not the pharmacist. It's those of us that have been there, done that, played that game, and won.
Wow. I think that makes a good recording today.
Probably 2 hours long. I don't know.
No. And any final thoughts, Marcy? But everybody, I think we have all been well fed. So
Yeah, they're often have been well fed. We didn't talk about all the products, but understand. Remember that synchrony is there for a reason. Our newest product, the hydration product, has value that beyond measure. As you're looking at those products, I thought of 100,000 ways plus to use Cell Defender. I didn't have the pain relief years ago. I used Cell Defender. I didn't have a product that worked on burns like Nano Silver Gel, right? I didn't have those things. I used Cell Defender, and guess what? The body's figured out that was a tool for everything. So it's still my first tool. Use it for everything. Use it first. You're taking the roadblocks away that allow everything else to work better. When you're dealing with something specific, be specific. It's okay. Put something where it is, where it hurts, layer it in, use Cell Defender, and then the Plus Relief product. If that's what you're battling, if you're battling discomfort, layer up. It'll do more good. If you're looking at a bad place on your skin, Band-Aid is your friend. Not the Band-Aid, but the little gauze pad inside. Keep that wet, keep your Cell Defender on it, and then after a period of somewhere between 7 and 28 days, the next time you leave the Band-Aid on for a few days at a time so you're not making the skin sore. But that little pad right there, that little gauze pad, that holds your product against the divisive interloper. If you want to get rid of that interloper and it's on the surface, battle from the surface and the inside. Keep it moist, keep the Band-Aid moist, check it. When it starts graying from the outside, you're winning. If it doesn't change, keep going. Even when till it comes off, roots and all. I love it. You'll have your own testimony, but remember when you're doing something like that, you're treating that horse with the bad wound, you're treating your friend with a bad foot that has never, there's a hole in the foot from bottom to top because of sugar intolerance. When you're dealing with all those things, remember, take pictures, because when you bring a picture forward of what the wound looked like, what the disease looked like, what despair looks like, we look in your eyes, we see it, we feel it, we hear it. We love it when it changes, and we have the tools to do that. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Marcy. Sure love you. Thank you.
Love you more.
Thank you for joining the Magnetic Leadership Podcast with Dave Johnson. Take charge of your health and detoxify today with Avini Premium products.